should be good here. Bullstream should be up and running. All right. We'll be going over the market, going over today's plays. We got less than 4 minutes there until it closes, so we'll get to see what the final numbers are. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 27th, 2021. Qs down 0.84, SPY down 0.3, IWM up 1.5. Coming into today, we had a couple spots here on the Qs and the SPY that we needed to beat, that we needed to take out to be bullish on them. Okay, and that was this pivot here that we highlighted here a couple days ago. We take that out. Then we are bullish. SPY, same thing here, highlighted here. If we take that out, back to bullish on the SPY. And then IWM was already bullish. So, you know, there wasn't really any reference point for that. So the IWM we came into today bullish. Qs kind of in SPY neutral, but anticipating them to turn bullish. Well, instead we got a gap down, and Q's kind of gapping down the most. Now, in order to be bearish, what we outlined was we take out this pivot, okay? And if we take out that pivot, then we will be looking for the next sell, so the next breakdown to be a shortable opportunity or an opportunity to sell. So that's what we got. And if you were trading with me this morning, the first thing that we talked about was, okay, we are gapping below the pivot. We'll have to see if we stay down there or not, because if we do, then we'll get that bearish opportunity. If we pop right back up, then, you know, we'll have to wait, attempt to break, and then got bought. So we got a little bit more of that. Okay, we turned into a big bottoming tail here in the morning. That was the thing that I was saying watch out for, especially because we had the divergence. SPY didn't fail on that pullback. So SPY still in neutral territory up over that pivot there. That's going to be still bullish on the SPY. If we take out Friday's low on the SPY, we can look for the next sell setup or breakdown as a shortable opportunity. We'll have to see, because if it pops right back up, then we won't get a breakdown. We won't get a sell setup, right? So for the Qs, we can be bearish underneath this pivot right here, 368.60. Okay, that'll be continuation there, and then that will be the continuation of the sell setup that triggered today on the Qs, right? So that's what we talked about on Friday. We'll look for this sell setup. If there is going to be another leg lower here this week, it starts with that. Okay, but notice the reaction that we got. So what we have to see is take out this attempt at a higher low here. We won't have it confirmed until it makes a higher high. But if that fails, then I expect us to take out today's lows as well. So the numbers here, 368.60, we take that out on the Qs, bearish on the Qs. And then the tricky part is IWM still bullish. If we were going to be bearish on the IWM, we'd at least have to take out today's bar. Either negate it entirely in a sell-off tomorrow or gap below it. Doesn't seem all that likely to be the case, but if that happens, you got to be bearish on the IWM. And then SPY, we got to get below Friday's low. And then, like I said, next entry. Okay. All right. Let's get into today's plays. Looks like we just got the close there. All right. So today's plays gave a shot at this RCAT. Pretty big gap up here, ending this downtrend into some resistance here, but wanted to see how far this was going to go. This one ended up being really sloppy today. And after I saw that first failure there, I said, you know what, the RCAT, I'm not going to play it again today, you know. So that's the thing, you know, we're constantly looking for these, you know, things that have a lot of potential to move, things that are getting the gap often, or you know, getting a lot of attention. And so sometimes we're going to play stuff that we're not that familiar. Like when we played the ATUS on this day, you know, I hadn't really been watching it in the previous days, although if you were looking for a, you know, daily that looked lower, you know, it was pretty good. But, you know, it wasn't like I traded it the day before, or the day before, or the day before that, you know. So, we have to kind of assess the liquidity and assess the spread, assess how it's moving, how tradable is it. And sometimes you find things and they're not that tradable and you let them go and you're glad you didn't. Sometimes, on something like this, it broke out, took out the high of the day, and then came right back in. That told me, this thing was playing some games and was going to be too sloppy and unmanageable. So I think that was the right call, because you can see there were a couple points later in the day. You see it move, even after that initial failure in the morning, moved back up. Looked like it was going to break out again here, right? I mean, even at this time, I saw it. I was like, oh man, this looks higher again, but I've already decided I'm not going to play it. It's not manageable. Okay, broke out. Now it didn't do it in quite the same way, but again, you can see that didn't work. Tried to go up again and then failed again. So this RCAT, you could say the gap was probably a little bit too big. Often runs pretty thin for a $2 stock. So there were some things here that were red flags, but there wasn't anything here that was strictly off limits for me. I don't have any days in here in the past month that are less than 100,000 shares. So it wasn't directly off limits, but there were some red flags there. And then once we got confirmation this thing was probably not going to act right today, didn't ever play it again. Okay, so kind of started off with that. Didn't really, having that reverse on us, but that's just how some things are going to go. Some really nice calls from Sammy and James, really picking up the slack for me this morning after that RCAT. So nice breakout here on the CEI from Sammy in the morning here, breaking out. Did an ad on it as well, and you can see just uptrend all day. So that was pretty nice. Also, James as well, a breakout here off the 20 MA. You can see price compression there, and then the breakout. I think both the energy had a really big day today, was really bullish, and so yeah, really nice plays there from those guys to kind of make up for the RCAP, more than make up for it. But that's what's nice about kind of being in the trading room. Nice to kind of trade together and have other people kind of provide some ideas. And I was just wrong on the RCAT and wasn't really seeing all that much else. So those guys kind of came through there on those plays. So yeah, that was kind of the day. I thought the afternoon was also kind of boring, a lot of not too much going on. And then yeah, surprisingly, the energy sector, a lot of bullishness there, a lot of opportunities along there. So that was pretty good. We'll see what we get tomorrow. This divergence, I don't think is going to make things any easier between the IWM, the Qs, and the SPY. It's different than what we were getting a couple months ago when the Qs and the SPY were making new highs day after day, and the IWM was lagging behind here. So a little bit different. Not going to read too much into it. Just going to take it day by day as we go, but just noticing that, that's what we're getting. So IWM, we mentioned last week, showing a lot of relative strength. This was already kind of turned bullish based on the chart. Coming into Monday, there wasn't really anything to be bearish about it on. So not that surprised that today it's up more than the Qs and the SPY. Or actually Qs are down and SPY is down, IWM's up 1.5%. Okay. So we definitely saw kind of that strength last week. All right. So hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.